y'all, it's Laura and I'm back with a cheeky studio layout. This is a traveler's notebook layout and it's of my daughter Chloe and it was for her birthday. Now this is going into my 52 favorites traveler's notebook set. There's a couple of inserts that are going to be part of this 52 favorites project and I am determined to finish this project even though I have to be honest, I'm kind of losing interest in it. And it's kind of being repetitive of the project life pages that I do, and so I'm not sure that I'll do it again, but it has been a fun project. And essentially what I was doing was once a week creating a traveler's notebook spread with my favorite or maybe the most interesting moment or the most interesting picture that I took that week and just documenting our everyday life. So I am using the Notebook Nancy kit from Cheeky Studio, and it had a lot of Amy Tan Shine On papers in it, and then it had some Maggie Holmes Willow Lane embellishments, and then it had these really cute little kind of millennial style crafty girl ephemera. So I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut those out because of course I am, and I've fussy cut out a lot of things on this spread. I did fussy cut all of those tiny frames out because I absolutely adore them. They are absolutely gorgeous. And I decided to go ahead and cut off this branding strip from this paper here and turn it into the top of a tag because I love the look of a giant tag on a traveler's notebook. It's just, the juxtaposition of such a small layout with such a large embellishment. Now this is a faux tag. Obviously, as you can see, I am faking that the whole thing is a tag. It's actually not. Just this little top piece here is going to have a hole in it and has the shape of a tag. And then I'm going to add a little bit of lace ribbon to make it look like it was a full tag without adding a whole extra layer behind that photo. The intention there is to keep the bulk of the layout to a minimum, and that won't happen because I can't help but add lots of puffy things to my layouts. I really, really like all the puffy three-dimensional things. I love the depth that those items add to a layout. They really make it feel like it kind of pops off the page and grabs your attention a little bit. I am using some glue dots to make sure those stay in place because this is going to be in a traveler's notebook, which is more heavily handled than a typical scrapbook layout. It needs to be secured. All of the elements need to be secured. So I absolutely love these little frames from the ephemera pack and decided to create this little banner of hanging frames, and I've tucked in some little tags that I fussy cut out of another piece of paper. And so this is just going to have a very cute kind of I was imagining, okay, follow me down this tangent here, but I was imagining a teenager's room. They have things pinned up on the wall. They have just piles of things everywhere. And I was kind of trying to follow that style. So I will create a pile of things underneath of her photo. And then I have those lovely frames just kind of stuck randomly onto that left-hand side of the page. I did decide to let go of the girl and instead bring in this envelope with cards inside because it seemed appropriate. This photo is of her opening up the card that I had made for her, and it has a little shaker in it, and she absolutely loved it. She was so excited to get it, and she's shaking it all around, and I absolutely was thrilled that she loved that card. Anything that you take the time to make for someone, you're always a little nervous. You're always kind of like, will they like it? Will they think that you were trying to avoid buying something? Because that's not usually the case. If I take the time to make something, it's because I really care about you. And especially if I use my precious scrapbooking supplies, I must really like you. Because let me tell you, I don't just give handmade cards to anyone. If I think you're going to trash it, I'm not giving it to you. Let me know if you're like that too. Are you afraid to give people handmade gifts because you're afraid they'll throw them away? I know I am, because let me tell you, if I make a mini album or a scrapbook, it has taken me days, weeks sometimes to make those projects. And I would not want, and they're expensive. If you think about all of the supplies that go into making those projects, they can be very, very expensive. And yet some people don't appreciate those gifts. And that always makes me a little nervous about giving handmade gifts, because it would break my heart if they threw them away. So now I'm adding in my title. It is a little bit hard to see on the screen, but in person it pops quite a bit more. And it's bringing more of that pink over to the black and white side. I was trying to establish some balance between the two. Now, if you look at my photo, you can see where I got the inspiration for choosing this color scheme. My daughter has on a black and white striped shirt and is holding a pink card. So if you're curious about my process, let me know if you would like to see a more in-depth, how do I choose my papers type of video, or maybe putting together page kits, because I have been doing that a little bit lately. It's not something that I normally do, but lately I have been finding myself much more productive when I throw together a couple of pieces of paper and a few embellishments. And working from kits definitely helps, but I may be going on a spending freeze next year and bringing y'all along for the ride, because I have been buying entirely too many things this year and I need to use my stash. I have too much stuff in my stash. I'm sure you do too. We just buy all the things because they're so pretty. So I did tuck in this little tassel bow from Maggie Holmes as well. And yes, it's red, but and I know that a lot of people think that red and pink do not belong together, but what I was doing here is tying in some of the red that is in the frames, and it was fairly bright in the frames to me, and so I felt like I could tie it in here. It also is in the top of the tag that I created over her photo, and there's some red spots in there as well, so I thought it tied in quite nicely and worked. It worked, was the bottom line. It does add a great deal of bulk though, and I always forget that part with traveler's notebooks. So adding some journaling strips over here, I did decide to just cut up some paper and use the white side to add some journaling strips, because I felt like this would help to tone down the heavy pattern on the left side of the page. And I think it does. I think adding white space to a busy pattern will help tone down the impact of that pattern. And I'm just going to be talking about how much she liked the card and how happy it made me as a creator person that she really enjoyed it, because sometimes people open the cards and they're like, oh, this is really cute, you did a nice job, trash. So I am adding some of the hearts from the Maggie Holmes sticker sheet and just kind of sprinkling those around the page. But speaking of sprinkling, that is not all the sprinkling we will be doing. No. Had to grab out these tiny little hearts and stars and add them all around the page. These are just in little enamel shapes. I promise I will post the link to where I get these on Etsy. I finally found a great source for them. She doesn't always have them available, and they are coming from China, I believe, but she gets them here pretty quick. So at least from China, it's pretty quick. And I think it only took a week or two last time that I ordered them. So I will add that link below for you. It's not an affiliate link. It's just the link that I use to get these. Adding my splattering, scattering, done, splattering time. Heidi Swap Color Shine all over the page. Just add a little bit of glam and finish it off. Give it a little polish. And this layout is done. I had so much fun creating this layout. I hope you will let me know in the comments below, how do you feel about giving handmade gifts? Stay tuned for still photos and definitely check out cheeky.studio. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. Until next time.